I'm doing? I'm proclaiming the word of the Lord that says, God, you're in control. Satan, you're not in control. That's what you got to quote. 911. It is God's answer to man's tragedies. God's answer to man's tragedies. He's got an answer for what we have experienced here 10 years ago. And oh, by the way, in closing, we've seen this. We've seen this in the last several weeks. We've seen this through ministry. He also promised that the person who is in the covering, the nation that is in his covering, the people that are in that covering under the shelter of the Almighty, He promises us that He'll show us His salvation. He'll show us His salvation. Meaning this, that He'll show us His power and His ability and His strength to save. Even in the middle of the torment of this life. I still don't have adequate answers. I cannot tell you 100%. Why? I don't blame God on 9/11. You can't blame it. This is a demonic-filled, Lord, I might get in trouble for this, a demonic-filled religion. Especially driven by 19 demonic-filled people. Why do you believe that? Because nobody that is of this world, or especially of His, would do something like that.
Yes, that's right.
Driven by demonic darkness.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
And God, in that season, as He does at times for awakening, for whatever, God had nothing to do with it. But like Job, at times He'll allow something. Don't know if it was judgment. We can't say that. I believe more if God didn't do it at all. But in spite of it, He tried to awaken something in this land that was. God does a lot in my life in spite of. But I do know this. At least 4 seasons that revival was sparked in many, but it died off quick because tragedy cannot be the only thing that leads us to the Lord. And all those lives, all those faces, all those people that lost and suffered. There's no adequate words to describe loss, as if when you have lost your family and friends and lost some children and some grandchildren and some husbands and some wives and some family members who has experienced loss. There's no adequate words to try to explain to you why tragedy happens. And so today I take a different approach. In the middle of tragedy, let's stand in Psalms 9:1 and realize that God's got us covered. Aren't you glad about that? God, go ahead and bless him. God has got me covered. I'm going to pray.